my lovelies, Annette. Welcome to episode 91 of the Prosperous Yogini podcast. And today I know is one of your favorite ones. I'm not alone talking to myself. I'm here with the gorgeous Claire. Now, Claire and I know each other because last year Claire chose to be one of our trainee yoga teachers on our 250-hour foundation teacher training course, which you graduated from, Claire, in October.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you went on and did the yin yoga teacher training course, in person. And now you're in my mentorship program. So Claire is really in my world. And actually she is here obviously to say, hey, look how good it is in Amy's world. Look at the success I have. But actually Claire's here for a lot more than this. She's here to tell us about workplace wellness. And she's also here to just share her experience, which I don't think is shared anywhere near enough, of like that starting out. Like we all share, don't we, the hero, like I'm guilty of this. I've been teaching for 14 years and I'm so successful. Nobody saw me 14 years ago. And it's so powerful and important, Claire, that you people come here and share their stories from the beginning. So first of all, I want to say welcome and thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. So let's get into it. You tell us, like, what were you doing? What was your job when you signed up to be a foundation, when you signed up to the foundation training course?
I was retail manager when I first started out, having done that for over 20 years.
Oh, you don't look old enough. I didn't know. And did you, when you signed up to the training course, was it to just know more, or was there this calling to be a yoga teacher?
I think it started off as wanting to do more, and then actually it'd be really nice to teach it. So I wanted to teach fitness when I first left school and didn't go down that route in the end. And then kind of getting ready to turn 40 and thinking, oh, actually, would be nice. I don't know if I'd ever be brave enough though to stand up and teach people. So yeah, so
we haven't planned to talk about this, but this is what I never plan. We mustn't forget to mention you also are a brilliant pole dancer. Is that right?
I'm okay.
Oh, well, the pictures I see on social media, I'm like, you are beautiful. And like, Claire's going to be really embarrassed now, but Claire has this perfect mix in her body. I'm envious of this, of both strength and flexibility. Claire, you're up there with Kelly Slater. He's got this beautiful mix of strength and flexibility and doesn't look 51. I did not know you were nearly 40. See, I'm learning. I'm learning so much on this podcast, and we've only just got going. Okay, so you came to the foundation teacher training course, and without like making this the story of today, you did have a situation with your employed work where it got too much. You had to leave, didn't you? It was crisis point.
It was that was so July, and like don't ever want to repeat it again. Like it happened. Definitely put me on a different path. So all of like the rubbish that happened last year, like so much good has come out of it.
Yeah.
And like I think there was a point where I was like, I was gonna like wobble with my teacher training. Actually turning up to that weekend was just like the best thing I could have done. Like everyone was it was so safe and everyone was so amazing.
And you genuinely did well to carry on, in what was difficult circumstances. And I think it can be a bit cliched for us to say when we're having these really tough dark moments, well, everything happens for a reason, and out the other side of this is the light. When you're in the thick of it, it's just painful, isn't it?
It was horrible. And like you know it all as well. Like I know all of the breathing exercises, I know how to like, but it just all like totally leaves you.
Do you know, thank you for saying that, because I think that isn't said. I mean, there's so many things I'm going to say, but that's not said enough. Like, I think as yoga teachers, yogis, people who practice yoga, we feel like we should be able to navigate these situations. And there are times in my life where the yoga has left me, like, despite knowing it all. I think human being first, Claire. Yoga practitioner second.
It really is. And you feel like you should know better, and you do beat yourself up over it. And it's like but it changed so much. It changed my practice. Like I would not have even considered yin or restorative.
No, do you know what? I was surprised when you said I'm signing up for the yin training. I was like, oh. And then obviously Jane, who I run the foundation teacher training course with, she's a big restorative advocate. And I think you discovered restorative yoga for Jane. You were like, oh my God, this is what I need.
It was so needed. And yeah, like Jane's restorative was just like next level.
She's magical, isn't she? Yeah.
Right.
So you've got yourself to like Christmas, and we're into the new year, 2024. And one of the great things, and I think this is a big model, guys, that more of us need to just like wake up to, is you are predominantly teaching in the workplace. Do you want to explain like just what your teaching schedule looks like from month to month at the moment?
So at the moment, I teach 4 classes a month at work. I do them on the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of each month. I do a morning, so an early morning session and an end of work session.
Yeah.
I teach that in my workplace, and people can book on via my system, and they can pay online or pay me on the day.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's a real reciprocal system that you've got set up, haven't you, in the sense that you're not paying for room space. They've obviously provided you of the audience, aka the people that are working in the office space. And I don't think there's many yoga teachers listening to this that will be like, oh, I wish. When we first start out and we first start running a class, it can be really hard to turn a break even, let alone turn a profit. And the beauty of what you have with that workplace yoga is you're making money, but which is great. Have you let's what have been the benefits of the workplace yoga? What has so far, I know you've been doing it for so long, but about six weeks plus now, what is the noticeable benefits to the staff at your workplace?
It's been a real mix, actually. It's been really good. So some of my morning people, like they're my early morning, like they're there, they get there early, they start their day early, they do their work early because they know they're going to flag in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And like the interesting thing is, like they've been saying, actually they've still been more productive longer into the afternoon.
Brilliant.
For those that are short on time that are coming to the evening one, it's being able to fit something in before getting home.
Yeah.
And then like it's that they're home, they can relax, they've already de-stressed, they've already done their workout for the day.
Yeah.
They get home and they're done. Like, you know, they're not done, they've got kids, they've got dinner, but they don't have to go out again. So it's a really nice, like flexible balance.
Yeah.
And I think we've focused a lot more on like our breathing, slowing things down, grounding.
Yeah, we're talking about that. Yeah.
You know, we're all anxious. And I think sometimes actually you're more anxious doing it with people you work with, because you're like, oh, so-and-so's really good. I'm not flexible. You know, it's all the barrier, you know, what we put on ourselves. So
that's a really interesting point, actually. Like when we turn up to a public yoga class, people don't necessarily know us and we haven't got a story attached to that, whereas your work colleagues all know each other. Do you one thing I've always wondered, are you able to separate the role of the yoga teacher in those moments and then when you're back in the office, the person working in the office?
Starting to. My desk's always an interesting place of people trying to like touch their toes or do like a random pose.
Oh, lovely. I actually love that.
But it is really sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, the dynamic does change because there's people that come to the class from all levels in the business. And yeah, you do almost take on the role swap where you're like teacher and pupil. So that's been amazing. And it's nice to see people from all over the business, not just like people my level and on my team, even though my team are heavily supporting my classes at the moment, which is amazing.
It sounds like you've got the balance, the tone perfect, because I'm just thinking back to a few years ago in our training course, we did have another lady who was working in an office corporate environment, and she was like leadership role, and it was just like a how no that she was going to teach her yoga class in her workplace to those people that she was leading. But isn't it nice in your office environment that when everyone stepped into that yoga room, those are signed roles melt away.
They really do.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, and it was slightly terrifying knowing that like I'm teaching like my HR manager.
Well, your HR manager is also a human.
She is,
Yeah.
and like the biggest advocate of mental health and wellness in the workplace. So.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So on that, I am going to come back to your experiences of being trained when you first start teaching, and a few hot tips for those of you that are just qualified. But let's just like, I always talk to people like, what's your why? What's your driver? And, you know, before we hit record on this, you talked about like, you know what it's like to be anxious in the workplace and how important it is for you that the workplace is a place where this anxiety doesn't exist. So where do you see this going, Claire? There's a big question. It's like, what do you want to do when you grow up? But where might you see this evolving?
I think it's already evolved so much, considering I was always going to be like vinyasa teacher and just vinyasa only. I've totally diversified now.
Well, considering as well, let's say you only qualified in October 2023, so like we're only in the end of Feb. It's amazing. I asked you that question because I confessed to Claire that I'm hanging out a lot on LinkedIn at the moment, but for several reasons. One, curiosity. Two, I've been told it's the place to be. And three, like I have been having, like I've been talking in the podcast about this, like this calling to like branch out to support all this great work that I do with you guys as yoga teachers in your business. Like it isn't just confined to yoga teachers. Like, and I was like, how can I like, branch it out? So I've been loitering. That's a great word, loitering on LinkedIn. And I cannot tell you how many yoga teachers I've fallen across that are corporate wellness. And they're not just yoga teachers, breath work coaches, breath work practitioners, meditation, under the banner of corporate wellness. They don't have websites. They just have contact details. They just have a LinkedIn profile and offering, like, that's their job full time, offering packages into corporate. And I just wanted to plant this seed for everyone that the model where we go out and teach weekly classes back to back it's not a bad model. It's just one model. And I feel in my heart, Claire, that these 4 classes that you're doing in your current workplace, they're going to be like the learning ground, like the starting of you, like leading the charge into corporate wellness and supporting people with anxiety in the workplace.
Definitely. It's I think that's where my direction's gone more and more, and like really having like a safe space, a safe class that's welcoming for like everybody. I don't know, that's really my thing. And I think I've been to so many like different classes and things like that. Actually, I kind of know how I want my classes to be.
Yeah. And just that term, safe place in your workplace, like if you as an employee know that you're going into a working environment when your boss wants it to be a safe place, wants to invest in your wellness, just like nobody needs to say anything, you're going to feel better at working in that place. Let alone, I know the other things, like you talked about productivity being the benefit. Like when we're thinking of selling into corporates, I mean, like, productivity is the one, like the staff well-being, you can't separate we talk about productivity, drive productivity, right? Actually, staff well-being and happiness is directly linked to productivity. You're not going to get more productivity. You're not going to get more energy out of a human being unless you're positively charging their energy. There you go. There you go, Claire. So when you make your millions, that's the phrase. Okay.
That's the one. Okay. I'm gonna write that down.
So like let's talk about then what you said to me before we hit record was what was your experience after your first class? What did you say to me?
I felt so ill. I felt so drained. Like I needed to lay down for like the evening.
Yeah.
So worn out. You name it.
I'm sure there are lots of people on the podcast going, yes, that's how I felt after my first class, or I've got the first time I ran anything new, like a training course, just so drained. The other thing I talk to you about is we do take on other people's energy. Like we're working with energy as yoga teachers and just being really conscious that you're not absorbing it. And if you are going to absorb it, because that's human to human interaction, like lying down, restorative yoga, having a bath, walking barefoot in the grass, meditation, breath, clear the energy. It's not mine. So if you're feeling, guys, at the end of your yoga class very, very tired, or I'm anxious, I'm stressed and I don't know why, or I'm feeling depressed, even, like, not to dismiss those feelings, they may be genuinely your feelings, but I do want you to question, are they my feelings, or have I sweeped this up from someone else? Okay, so let's go on to, because this is useful, people have heard me talk about this. Talk to me about your other class. What's the other thing going down in your life in terms of classes?
Okay, so I also teach on a Sunday afternoon. I do a yin and yang class.
Ooh,
So I do like half an hour to like 35, 40 minutes. Like creative flow. I focus on a pose each month and we break that pose down. We work on different areas of the body to make that pose.
That's great advice.
And it's you know, I've had like mixed abilities as well in there, but it's great for beginners, but they can also see actually each week your body feels different. And sometimes that pose will work for you, and sometimes you're like just going to lean against the wall and do this pose. There's no right or wrong way, but yeah, really breaking it down and using all of the props we've got, working on core, working on balance, and
Sounds
then
lovely.
we melt into some yin. So we do a few more active yin, so we do some dangles and that, and then like the last, I do an extended savasana, but before we do that we do a couple of like more yin restorative poses.
Well, I'll be putting Claire's details in the show notes. Claire, but you Dorset, is that right?
I am. So that's a Dorchester class.
Dorchester class. Right. So if you're near Dorchester, and this, let's talk about this. I think before the wellness, corporate wellness, and the classes in your workspace came up, I remember having this conversation with you while you were training. Like, you were like, the market's saturated where I am. Everywhere the scene is wrapped up and tightly knit. You did have that feeling, didn't you?
I've just done my own thing now. I've gone on a Sunday. There's not many classes on a Sunday.
Good. Well, I remember saying to you, you do not need permission to start a class. You do not need approval from an established studio or an established teacher. And we can often like chase these things down, and actually, like, I think there's somebody for everyone. Not the established teacher in the established studio, don't assume everybody's going there and everybody likes that teacher and everybody likes that studio. Like, your tribe is out there. Now, this class, let's talk about your payment structure. Because this podcast interview is also a little bit of mentoring. Tell me what you do, and all the listeners are going to go, I know what Amy's going to say.
So I do one flat fee of £10. And I know I need to do block bookings and other options.
Oh, listen, let's be compassionate to ourselves. Like, so it's £10 drop in and people are just booking weekly.
Yeah.
What is the net result in your numbers? Do they, they go up and down?
They do. It's well, 3 is my normal. Well, between 3 and 6, I consistently always have 3 ladies, and then I get others drop in and out.
Yeah. So like, you consistently cover your costs, with a little bit extra. And I know I've been there when you feel that you're like, well, anybody else that comes with bonus, and like, we're just and the other thing tangled into this when people first start out, just this drop-in feels like, well, if anyone turns up and they don't like me.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I guess the counter that as well, if people really want to come, they'll come every week, and you're finding that you've got like this core tribe of people. I would say you've got a core tribe of people that shows you that you're good, that shows you that you're needed. And if you doubled your core tribe of people, which is totally possible given how long you've been teaching, which isn't very long, and how long this class is going, then you could have a nice little earner here. And you'd be helping more people access yoga. Not to mention, you and I know the benefits of yoga come from frequency and a regular practice, not dropping in once a month. And listening to the way you describe this class, I'm going to benefit so much more from coming week to week than. So Claire's going to do this. We've already figured out the dates. But it's hard, guys. And the other reason why we fall as yoga teachers into this more drop-in model, because we look at like a studio, a big studio or gym, which have, you know, you're not a studio or gym. This is one class a week. You know, this is bespoke, higher end, right? Okay. This isn't David Lloyd Leisure. Well, I'm sure the yoga in David Lloyd Leisure is great, but this is different. Very, very different. So Claire is. Yeah, and you know, let our students know that, you know, at some point in the future that we have discussed that you're going to move to a block, start and end date. You know, and with your blocks, then we get very tangled in. Well, how long should my block last, and when do I start and when do I end? I mean, I just used to roll between 5 to 7 weeks, looking at like the holidays, looking when I might not be teaching and stuff like that, and it just happened. And I just used to say I charge between 5 to 7 weeks in, you know, blocks have a start and end date. If you miss a week, sorry, credit does not roll over. You have the option, space permitting, to drop in.
Yeah.
And you and everyone listening to the podcast today, there is your terms and conditions. And your drop in price should be £2, if not £3, if not £4 more. It should be, the drop in price should be a bit uncomfortable.
Okay. Yeah.
The other thing interesting with your drop in, like, which is also something that we have down here in Cornwall, is Dorset's an area where people come on holiday. So, you know, there's an opportunity to tap into that market as well, space permitting.
Yeah, I have had people come that have been visiting, so that's been nice. But then you're like, oh, I want you to come back.
Yeah, so that's why, you know, it's another reason why, you know, we're rewarding our regular students, we're rewarding people who live locally with the option to buy to the block, and those people that want to drop in, the people who want to experience your classes that are on holiday, there's a higher drop-in price for them, and that's just the way the world is. You know, it's the way we need to operate.
Definitely gonna go do that. Like, gonna have a look at holidays.
But listen, everyone does this, and I've had some wacky pricing structures in the past, like, you know, and in, like, not only do you get a better experience because your students come every week, they get a better experience. Like, there's a bit of faffy admin at the moment. I have to book every week. And like the word, I always think, like, if you reframe it, if you turned around to these people and said, look, I'm just going to stop this class, I'm not making any money, they'd be gutted. They'd be like, well, what do we need to do for you to carry on? And you'll be like, pay me every week. And they'll be like, we'll pay you every week.
It's so true. And like, they all tell me like the benefits that they're getting. Like, you know, I see some of them the next morning and they're just like, oh, like, I slept so well last night, you know, I just left and I just felt so like relaxed and calm. And, you know, amount of times people have like come, we've had like, I'm doing my tree, I'm bending, I'm not breaking.
It's just it sounds a gorgeous class. Please, I just like charging blocks, charge more for it. It is, you are worth it. Like it you know, the offer is worth it. If you want separate, take your worth out of it, you know, our worth is infinite, but the offer, what you are offering, the value you're bringing is worth it. So the other thing that has happened in your world is on the yoga teacher training course, you've made a lifelong friend, haven't you?
Yeah, I really have. Like, yeah,
it's gorgeous. Like, and I think we get taught, you know, drawn into my yoga classes, my workshops, my training, and for me, I'm like, what's the byproduct of it? Or community, friendship. And your yoga teacher training course has brought a lady into your life who's your lifelong friend. You too. I love you too. I love your friendship. I just loved your relationship. Like, I love the fact she brought you coffee every training weekend. I mean, just like, it's gorgeous. But it hasn't ended there. So tell us what's been the other offer that has emerged from graduating in October 2023.
We're just about to set up, we're just about to launch our second retreat now. Yes. So yeah, so Tracy is like a total MG when it comes to organising.
We also do human design in the foundation. But it's getting to a point where every offer I have has human design in it now, because everyone should know it.
And yeah, no, she contacted a hotel on the off chance, and the next thing I know, we're running a retreat.
It's amazing, and it sold out, didn't it?
It sold out in January, and it was amazing. Met some incredible people in an incredible space, and yeah, it was. And you kind of like left it, and I was like, I want to do another one. How do we do another one? So yeah, Tracy went out there again.
Contacted someone, they've said yes. I mean, I feel like we feel like this is just like, they're going out and taking action. I think you're taking aligned action, like these opportunities are coming your way. You're meant to be doing this, and it's happening. Because also you might be listening to this thinking, well, Claire must have a website. Claire must be on social media all the time. She must have really built her audience alongside this. No, she's shaking her head. Like, if you're not watching on YouTube, right? Claire is shaking. She's laughing as well. I mean, what are your oh, she's just hang on, you're back. What are your let's talk, what are your broadcasting channels? How do you build an audience and connect? What are your ways you do that?
So I've got Instagram, Facebook, and a landing page. And then the rest of it, word of mouth, work. I've got the intranet at work advertised on, and yeah, word of mouth, and
it's brilliant. And I think you set your landing page up first, didn't you, in using MailerLite for free, and then went on to Instagram and Facebook, and that link was like, classes coming soon, join here. And I know you've obviously got a great mentor. That's what it is. Bullies you into this stuff, but so often people I'll go on Facebook and Instagram first, and I'll get that nailed in. And it's just with the serendipity of the last 3 episodes have been really weird. Like, I don't plan this stuff. 3 weeks ago, I did Why You Need a Mailing List in 2024. Last week, I talked about a lady who's lost her Facebook account, social media account in the mentorship program, and how we're turning this around, as Rastamouse was saying, making a bad thing good. My children used to love Rastamouse. I can't stop them. I can't not but say that. And now here we are with you, Claire, talking about the fact that you didn't go onto social media first, that you got the mailing list sorted out, and you actively drove people to that before you even knew what you were going to be doing. And if everyone could do that, everyone's marketing lives would be so much easier.
Definitely. Social media is still a love-hate thing, so
that's okay.
We do it.
And you're a manifesting generator as well, aren't you? Yeah. And I think if you don't know what me and Claire are talking about in terms of human design, like, I do think I think everyone except generators, I think like social media is like made for them. Like, be consistent, generate content. You're like, yeah, I can do that. I've got an idea for this. I've got an idea for that. Was I think the rest of you, social media is not necessarily, geared to you. Whereas like getting people onto a mailing list and just, I'm going to say a quieter form of marketing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's more within my comfort zone.
Yeah. And listen, you've not needed to be all over social media.
No, I think my one post a week is like my happy place.
And let that be enough without you beating yourself up. Like, literally let that be enough. What I would say to you is a little bit of sort of like next steps advice. LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'm on there.
Okay.
So I need to start, my other job.
Yeah. And I think funny enough, I fell across someone talking about this the other day who's on LinkedIn on their employed professional capacity. And it's like, well, how do I then appear on LinkedIn in another capacity and that not run a conflict with my employed job? Because you don't want your employer looking at you on LinkedIn thinking, well, she's gunning for and she's gunning to get out. You know what I mean? But I think you can do it in a really, because that's not the truth. You can do it in a really sensitive way that you can start spreading the message of corporate wellness, the power of yoga in the workplace, sharing. Now, here is where there's a reciprocity, sharing, and obviously with your employees' permission, sharing the experience of teaching yoga within this company, right? Because that's going to big up the company as well. And then, if and when in the future you're like, oh, I think I might put together a corporate package, and do wellness days, that sort of stuff, then the audience is there. And like I said, LinkedIn, there's teachers on it, there's yoga teachers on that they are only on LinkedIn.
And that's really interesting. So I'm definitely going to do some nosy-ing.
Yes. I feel like with LinkedIn, step one is just look. Yeah. Look. Step two, start to think about, if I am positioning myself on here, what is the purpose of that positioning? What am I bringing? What am I sharing here? And from my experience of LinkedIn, it all seems just so much more happy and positive compared to social media.
If I was to choose between like LinkedIn and Facebook, I think LinkedIn's like my preference.
Yeah, I think it's not. I can totally see that, and I don't think it's like, oh, LinkedIn is better than Instagram or Facebook. I just think if you are like, in your case, it is. LinkedIn would be like, if I was going to say, right, I'm going to build an audience somewhere, I'm going to invest in a broadcast channel to position myself, build an audience and make them an offer. For you, it would be LinkedIn. It's like it's wasted on Facebook and Instagram.
Interestingly, I don't put a lot on there about any of the corporate side of it at all.
But that's also like, I'm the same in the terms of like, on Instagram you'll see me talk a lot about my training, a lot about the mentorship program, the work I do with yoga teachers, peppered with some of the sort of like the new branch of how I'm going to be helping like female service-based entrepreneurs. Go on to LinkedIn, and I'm all about the female service-based entrepreneurs, peppered with my yoga teacher experience. So this is the other thing, like understanding what this broadcast channel is for, what's my positioning on this. That's just, that's marketing. So compared to like wrap up, I feel like you're like one of my super fans. That's why you're here. Claire's bought everything.
Definitely.
There's a few more weeks, assuming I get this out in time, which I will. There's a few more weeks until our foundation yoga teacher training course starts. That's starting the 22nd of March 2024. We've got a couple of places left. Anyone listening to the podcast that's thinking of joining, what's your advice?
Honestly, just go for it. Even if you don't think that you can stand up in front of people and teach, like, you'll surprise yourself. You really will.
Yeah.
You're the people you meet, the friends you make, it's just worth it. It really is. Best investment in like myself.
That's so good to hear. It's I talk about it all the time. It's an opening of the door of possibility, isn't it?
It is. Like, it's like the first step of like so many. And I didn't think I'd be teaching at work, let alone in retreats or my own class.
I love it.
It's been amazing. And say friendships out of it, just
and like the yoga, and like the training works, the training matters, the teaching matters, the friendships matter the most.
They do.
You know what I mean?
They keep you sane as well.
Stuff. This is the stuff, guys. And then you join the mentorship program in January. So only 6 weeks in or so. But for you as a newly qualified yoga teacher, like, what's the mentorship? Just knowing, being part of that, what's that meant for you?
I think it's reassurance in what you're doing sometimes, knowing you've got that like extra person to sense check what you're doing. Even just like going through book one just now, like, didn't know how, it's little things that you've just got all of that knowledge to like draw upon. And like you invest in training, but we do forget like mentorship, such a big part of like my day job as well. You do it all the time in the work world. You have mentors.
So I know.
Why would be in yoga?
I don't, this is a topic for another podcast, don't get me off. But I'm the same, like, I come from education, 12 years in education, and like newly qualified yoga teacher, newly qualified school teacher. I had my NQT year. I had 2 further years of extra support, but I also had ongoing, like, observation mentorship support. I think it's insane that this is not standard in the yoga industry. And we do get drawn to training over mentorship, and it's not like that anywhere else. As you know, this is why I'm here on the podcast. I'm here to, like, you know, any yoga teacher that's going to listen to me, I'm going to just take them with me. I think it's really weird, right? So obviously I've got something about the number 22, angel number. So the foundation teacher training course starts March the 22nd. Doors to the mentorship program open April the 22nd. So you just remember 222, 222, angel numbers, it's a sign.
Oh.
You know, I blame Jane. She's honestly, now I used to not be into all this stuff, and now I live my life by the Chani app horoscope, and
It's done it to all of us though.
she does. She gets into your skin, and you're like, what?
Claire, she really does. Like, yeah.
I really want to thank you so much for coming. And
no, thank you for having me.
You may not realize this, but you are leading the way. And sharing your story leads the way. And the more of us that say, oh, I've done this, I had this experience, it wasn't great, I've come through the other side of it, and I'm having this success, and this is the way I've done it, you're leading the way for others. You're proving what is possible, because so many yoga teachers fall out of their training course, don't even get teaching, or make a start. It's easily done, isn't it?
Really easy. Like, you do procrastinate on it. I did. I had Tracy encouraging me a lot.
Yeah. You did. I don't actually think you had a choice there.
You are going to teach. When are you going to teach?
I don't know if does she listen to the podcast? Because if she does, I just want her to know you do what she says.
I do.
And I love it. And I love her for that. And we need more of that in the world.
We really do. Like, yeah, like, she was incredible during the training. Like, yeah, that was probably one of the best things, to pair up with someone and just like bounce off each other's ideas.
Yeah. And you wouldn't have met her in any other circumstances in life, because very different age, different background, different ages, different life experiences. It's the beauty of the training.
It really is. So no.
Well, thank you, Claire. Genuinely, thank you for coming to share your story. I feel like let's see you back in 12 months' time, and definitely. We'll hear about how you've leveraged LinkedIn, how you've got a high price corporate package that you just deliver now and again, and you are spreading. Yeah, you can do this. Spreading corporate wellness, because a less anxious workplace is a better world. There you go. There you go. All right, my darling. Thank you so much. And I'll see you. Yeah, a pleasure. And I'll see you guys on the podcast next week.